this is, you going by Ken today?
That's right.
Ken Rogers and Gabby. Don't tell you her last name. Gabby Kay. They're with Miller Electric. Ken is a alumni from here. If you're not familiar with what that is, it was not on the periodic table. He graduated from here.
That's true.
They work for Miller Electric, and other than that, I'm gonna let them go to the floor.
All right, good deal. What ages do we have in here? So I guess really what classes? 11th grade, 12th grade? Raise your hand if you're a senior. Okay, raise your hand if you're a junior. All right, anybody below that? Okay, cool. So I mean, everybody here is pretty much at that time, that segment of life where it's time to make a decision. You know, the free rides you've had is going to run out, and you got to get a job. You got to do something meaningful to support yourself. Unless you're independently wealthy, which if you were, you probably wouldn't be sitting in this room. So we just want to give you an option. We want to give you something to think about. We want to give you an idea of what we do, and see, let you review it, see if it's something you'd be interested in. So that's what today's all about. This is for you. We don't want to bore anybody. We don't want to just say our piece. We just want to give you something to consider as you work through that whole equation. You got anything on that yet?
No.
Okay. So Miller Electric, this is our core values. You see what's up there on the board. Trust is a big deal to us. We trust our employees. They trust us. Our customers trust us to come into their hospitals and their really expensive facilities and do work. I like to have this out in front of me because it kind of tells me who I'm working for. And anytime I see something that I can't make sense of, I go back to the core values and say, okay, that's who we are. So when you're picking something you want to do in life, make sure that who you are aligns with the company that you're looking at maybe working for. We could spend a lot of time talking about these. I love talking about our core values, but I'm not going to dig in too deep on those. Miller Electric's been around a long time. We're almost 100 years old. We're right there at 98 years old. We're all over the country. We've got like 3,500 employees. So if you're looking for something stable, something that's well established, then Miller might be an option for you. It's something to consider. We've been doing this a long time. We keep getting better and better at it. I'll give you my little story. Billy gave you kind of a tip there. I did graduate here in 98 back when I had hair. And I ran into the electrical wiring program just purely by mistake. I was signed up for an electronics class. They said that one's full. How about this one? It sounds like it, electrical wiring. And I wound up loving the class that I was in. Same class that Mr. Mathis teaches right now. It was taught by somebody by the name of Carl Hoffman back then. And it completely changed my trajectory, my outlook on what I was going to do. Really didn't know. I knew I wasn't going to college. I knew that wasn't my path. I always wanted to work with my hands, always wanted to tear things apart and figure out how they work. And so this was a way for me to do that. And that's what we're trying to tap into. What are you going to do? Do you have a plan? And can you see anything in this presentation that helps you get there? Now, I manage big projects for Miller. I've been doing that for the past 28 years. And just absolutely love it. Get to work with people that are, Gabby's just fresh into the program, but she's about done already. That's fresh from my perspective. So really unique experiences that I get to be a part of. I'm going to hand it over to Gabby to introduce herself.
I'm Gabby. I graduated in 2021, so that wasn't very long ago. I was sitting in y'all's seats. I started the 4-year program like 4 years ago, so I'm about to be a journeyman in May. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in high school, but I knew that I didn't have the money to go to college, and I wanted to make a lot of money. So my grandpa, he was a lineman, and so that kind of inspired me to look into the trades. I have moved up really fast in the last 4 years. I've made some really good money, the most money that I've ever made. I mean, I started working in like a restaurant when I was in high school, and I make a lot more than that. This was like probably one of the best opportunities that I did for myself, and it will only keep getting better.
I want to say something about Gabby she won't say, but she came to us with a great attitude and just a tremendous work ethic. And I just want to share that concept with you briefly, that no matter what you do, whatever choice you make, your attitude and your work ethic are going to decide where you go with that. And that really, when you get into an industry like ours, the sky is the limit. You can go as far as those two things will take you. And what we're going to share with you is how that works and what that looks like. All right, just to give you a couple ideas of what Miller Electric does. People hear electricity, hear electrician, and maybe you know exactly what that means, or maybe you're like, what do y'all change light bulbs or something? But literally everything we do, whether it's data, and I mean you and us in this room, everything we use every day is dependent on electricity, it's dependent on data in some way, shape, or form. It comes into your home through systems that are built by electrical workers. So as you're thinking about a career path and you're wondering, hey, is this career path going to be around for a while? Ask yourself, are you using more electrical stuff or less electrical stuff in life? Are you using more data or less data in life? That should help you answer the question that this is a trade that's just growing. We need all trades, but we need electrical workers faster and in greater quantity than we need anything else. So job security is kind of baked right into what we do. If you have more questions about this, we can get into that later if you want to sidebar with me. What is an apprenticeship? Gabby mentioned apprenticeship. I don't think I mentioned about myself, but I went through the same apprenticeship that she's in right now. It was a 5-year program when I went through it. So she gets the benefit of a condensed program. It's 4 years now. It should be that way for a while. But when you hear apprenticeship, what comes to mind? We want to fill in some blanks for you a little bit. So obviously in an apprenticeship, there's a master and an apprentice. There's somebody who knows the skill and somebody who does not. And the goal of that entire relationship is for there to be a benefit for both parties. One party who knows the skill to impart that to the one that doesn't, and to do that in a way that's beneficial to both. So our apprenticeship basically has, and I missed one of my points I wanted to talk about. Apprenticeship is probably the oldest educational form out there. You can trace it back to the Middle Ages in history books. Some say you can trace it back to like biblical times. But frankly, you can probably expect that it was around, as soon as mankind carved the first wheel. Somebody said, hey, that's a cool thing you're doing there. How do I do that? And then the relationship was born. Somebody who knew how to do something taught somebody who did not. That's what we're about in this trade. We want to pass our skills down so there can be more people doing what we do. So there's guided classroom training. It looks like school 2 nights a week. How long do y'all go each night these days?
Oh, I know that 1st through 3rd year is like 6 to 9. But I go from 6:30 to 9:30.
Yeah, so a few hours, two nights a week, right?
Yeah, 2 nights a week. Actually, I think they've even been cutting it down to 1 class night for certain classes. I think they're trying it out.
So the basic pattern is a guided classroom training that we do through the apprenticeship, and then on-the-job training that you get with Miller Electric. So it's a bit of a partnership. We at Miller don't do the classroom training, and then the apprenticeship that we're talking about doesn't do, the apprenticeship school doesn't do the field training. That's where we kind of partner up. Now, I'll get into that a little bit deeper here in a minute. So it's a symbiotic relationship. You're probably thinking, how do you both benefit? That's a word that you might not remember, symbiotic. We may ask you about that later. I should have said when I started, there's going to be a quiz at the end. You might get something nice if you pay attention, you know the answers. But it's just a relationship where both parties benefit. And put it in its simplest terms, the master who has a skill set passes that on to somebody who doesn't have that skill set. And it's not just for free. There's something that we all get out of it. The apprentice provides fresh ideas, fresh challenges, and help to the master. That is the way that this trade works. It's the way that most trades have worked throughout human history. People talk about going to a college to become a carpenter, an electrician, or a welder, but the vast majority of the higher, superior level educations come through apprenticeships. And that's really what we're here to talk to you about. You may be thinking about, well, what's that all about? Maybe I want to go to college and I want to choose that path. Maybe that's the equation that's in your head right now. Am I going to go down the college path or am I going to go down the apprenticeship path? Which one's right for me? A few things to consider. The great thing about an apprenticeship is typically, and in our case it's this way, is that you get to earn while you learn. In other words, you're not paying to go to school. You're being educated, you're receiving an education both in the field from Miller Electric and in the classroom from the Electrical Training Alliance. We'll talk about them more in a moment. But you're getting that for free. That education is something that probably is in the $30,000 to $40,000 value after 4 or 5 years, and you don't have to pay for it. You're not going into debt. You're actually making money. So if you're thinking about, hey, I want stuff, I want a home, I want a car, I want a family, I want a dog, whatever that looks like to you, you're going to have an income to get there. And losing money while you're getting an education is one option, or you can earn while you learn, and that's the apprenticeship path. So college, I think we all know how that works. Somebody's got to pay for it, right? Either you got to pay for it, you got to be smart enough to have a scholarship, and you have to put in the work as well as being smart enough to get that scholarship, or you're going to end up paying for it yourself. You're either going to go into debt, you're going to take out a loan, maybe you got a rich aunt or uncle or something, and you're unique, but most of us don't have that. So these are the two paths that we're really looking at. Which one do we want to choose? And then something that I think is important to mention, there's a lot of college paths out there that are being replaced by AI. If you had the misfortune of recently graduating with, say, a computer programming or a coding degree, you could literally come out of school with $70,000 of debt and find out you don't have a job because guess what? We don't need you anymore because AI is doing that. One of the things to look for in life at this point is what path can I go down where I'm not going to be replaced by an artificial intelligence or be replaced by a robot. Now, I personally think in our trade, we're probably, in our lifetime, we're going to see a lot more AI and robotics helping us in what we do. They'll probably eventually be, employees, so to speak, where we're using an AI or a robot that helps us do things in the field, just like we would use a tractor or a machine today. But our jobs are not going to be replaced by that. There's a lot of professionals, a lot of specialists that are studying this. And I don't know this if you know who Mike Rowe is. He's the dirty jobs guy, but he's been talking about this for a while. But he's big in the point that like trades, for the most part, are AI resistant. So think about a trade if you want to have a job and not get your job replaced by an artificial intelligence. Gabby, do you want to talk about any of this stuff, or you want me to barrel through it?
I can talk about a little bit of this. Here's the pay scale throughout your apprenticeship. So everyone starts at first year, and then you'll work your way up. You'll get a raise every single year that you complete the program. Right now, I'm at 4th year, which is super nice. The money feels good. And then you'll make your way up into being a journeyman, and you make that amount of money every year. And you can even make more than what's on this screen right now if you work overtime. A lot of people like to work overtime, make more money. I think you get time and a half, and then Sundays are double time.
That's right.
So these are some good numbers to keep in mind.
Let me just ask this question here, and if you're not comfortable raising your hand, you don't have to, but is any of the students in this room, anybody making more than $19 an hour right now in their side job? Good deal. Good deal. So I got maybe 2 hands going up. Yeah, so I always like to ask that question. I want to know if we're like ahead of the curve, if we're behind it, if we're doing great, if we're doing terrible. But most rooms, when I walk in and talk to high schoolers, they're not making more than that. So you could come out of high school, you can jump into the apprenticeship, you can make that hourly wage and that yearly income. Okay?
Also, a lot of people aren't thinking about it right now because you're probably still on your parents' health insurance, and then you get health insurance on top of that. Most of my doctor's appointments are only like $10. I think they're like a $10 copay. Just super awesome. Healthcare is really expensive. So worst case scenario, something happens to you, you're in an apprenticeship, you get sick, you're a journeyman, you get sick, we have great health insurance. You start building your retirement too when you're a journeyman, and you need retirement experience.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So that's vision, dental, and medical,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I know that's where it's at when you're a journeyman, and I believe it starts when you're apprentice. But yes, so all things that are factored into that. Maybe you're making 19 now, and that's awesome. But just think about, are you getting those benefits? Are you putting anything away? Is there a system that's helping you to pay for those unforeseens and also to save for your future? And to what Gabby said, and more, journeymen make that amount and they can make more. This just gives you kind of an idea of some things that going through the apprenticeship, remember, it's a free education, going through that apprenticeship and coming out the other side can make available to you. These are alternate, or I guess continuation career paths. You don't have to just stop as a JW or as a journeyman wireman. You can keep going up. You can become a foreman. That's kind of the next level up, moves into leadership. You can become a superintendent. That's what I do right now. I've known personally people that work for Miller that came through the apprenticeship and were vice presidents, even presidents of the company. I've known some that have gone on to become engineers. I've known some that have leveraged Miller Electric's college reimbursement plan to fund that while they work for Miller, and then they've launched themselves into something even bigger after that. I think I'll pause later to talk about the college reimbursement plan. But we just want you to see that maybe this is something you're looking at, you're like, hey, that would get me through a summer, that would be cool work. We love that. We do that all the time. We employ people that just want a summer job, just want a short-term employment, but it can also be a career path and someplace that you stay, or it can be someplace that you grow through and outgrow, and then use that as a stepping stone to go to another career path without you having to pay for that education, that foundational education that you got to get you there. Go ahead.
Along with that 3740, that's just in our area. Once you become a journeyman, you can travel to other states, other towns and cities. There's hurricane relief that they make really great money. So that wage is just for this area. So it can be higher, it can be lower, depending on where you're at. A lot of people like to travel for a little bit. If that's up their alley, go make their money and then come back home and come back to this nice pay rate.
That's a great point. So Jacksonville, St. Augustine is kind of our territory here in this particular zone, and those wages are accurate there. As you move west and you move north, that 3740 gets up in the 40, the 50, and the $60 an hour range. And some people love that. Some people are made for that. Some people aren't. So it's one of the great things. Is why we kind of showed you Miller's territory earlier, that we're all across the United States. If you're a homebody and you want to live in Middleburg your whole life like me, then, because I still live here, then this job can keep you home every night. If you want to see the whole country, this job will do that for you too, if that's what you want out of it. And you can pursue whatever direction you're looking for as far as you want to go. All right, I told you I'd get back to the partnership with the Electrical Training Alliance. So there's an entity called the ETA, the Electrical Training Alliance. They're the ones that actually administer the classroom and the laboratory training for our apprentices. So just to recap, they do the training that's more like, classroom and laboratory, the stuff that you might think of like book knowledge and technical knowledge. Miller takes care of the on-the-job training, where we partner an apprentice with a journeyman electrician or a foreman or a superintendent or some combination thereof, and they teach them how to do the stuff that we actually do in the field. The idea being that you're a well-rounded electrical worker when you're done with that program. So the school provides everything you see up there that doesn't have Miller in front of it. And then I wanted to hit on those last few points. When you're done with that 4-year program, you actually have, it was 30 last time I checked. I heard it was about to increase to just a few more. But you leave with 30 college credits that you can take and roll into an associate's degree if that's something you want to provide for yourself. And then you couple that with the fact that if you're working for Miller, we have a college reimbursement program. As long as you're studying something that relates to your job at work, if you make A's, we'll pay 100% of your college. If you make B's, 80%, you make less than that, you're on your own dime. But there's, again, a free path. If you're like, I wish I could go to college, but I can't go tomorrow, there is a path through the trade to get you down that college route as well. Importantly, it's an earn while you learn program. It's still not you having to front that money. It's somebody else paying for it. So a lot of tremendous advantages there. So just some of the requirements, like what does it take if I want to sign up tomorrow and find out, where this can take me in life? This is the basic requirements. You have to be 18, have to have a college diploma, high school diploma or a GED. You have to have your driver's license. You have to have at least 1 credit of high school algebra. And then you have to pass an aptitude test, which is just basic reading and math. The cool thing about that is that if you struggle in the math test, we've got a refresher math test we'll put you through. And I really haven't had anybody that ever worked for me that didn't pass that math test that then wasn't able to go through the refresher and get caught up. So I had to go through the refresher. I'm fairly intelligent in my own opinion, but I was able to go through that and catch up with the refresher and get into the program way back a long time ago.
Yeah, I would say that most people would take the refresher math class. I took it, I think, to get out of the refresher math class, you have to get 100 on the math test. And it's pretty hard to fail the aptitude test and the math reading test. But most people do the refresher.
Yeah, and the aptitude test, do you know much about, is there a hands-on portion as well? I think you have to identify some colors maybe, and that may be about it. But
maybe colors on a screen. I think it was on a computer.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty simple. Not like the JEA aptitude test.
Yeah. Don't have to climb a pole.
Exactly.
All right, so just wanted to kind of sum up some important points here and make sure that you guys have a good grasp on what we're talking about here. And frankly, we have to get into like, are you interested in this? These are questions to ask yourself. Are you interested in a hands-on career? Maybe you've never thought about it before. Maybe you haven't thought about what you're going to do at all. Maybe you thought it was just for people that are this way or that way. We've got a pretty good spectrum between me and Gabby here. And that's on purpose. I want you to see that like she's making it, I made it. This is a career path that can work for anybody who's looking for a hands-on, like I want to learn kind of a mindset. You see we've got there, if you're interested in earning while you learn, like you don't have your college path nailed down and you're looking to make some money, get your life started while you get your education, this might be for you. If you have a great attitude and a work ethic, well, you know what? Not everybody comes with that. Sometimes that's something you have to decide, I'm going to work on that. I've been lazy my whole life, and now it's time to turn that around. We all have those pivotal moments in life, that kick in the pants. So maybe you're like, I can reach for this, I can do that. We're here to tell you, we think you probably can. Especially if it's something you're looking for. If you're interested in an AI-resistant career path, something that you're not going to get taken away from you as soon as you thought you had your hands wrapped around it, and then earning potential that's north of $100,000, and the more work that's going on, the more you decide to work, the more money you can make. And then something I really wanted to pause on, I kind of blew past it a minute ago, but the transformative earning potential. I was in a scenario kind of like this where me and another gentleman were talking about Miller Electric, and he shared a story about himself that I didn't know. And he talked about being raised in a single parent home, very low income, barely getting by. And he really started to get choked up as he told us. So this guy I think he's a senior project manager or maybe a director right now within Miller. He's younger than I am, passed me a long time ago. And he started to get choked up. He said, this job has been transformative for me. He said, it's taken me from wondering how I was going to feed myself, how we were going to take care of ourselves, if I ever wanted to have a family, how that was going to work, to now I'm in a position where I've got everything I need and I don't have to worry about money anymore. So a lot of people don't necessarily have that in mind when they think about skilled trades. So one of our final goals here today is to leave you with that concept. Maybe you love where you're at. Maybe where you're at in life is where you want to stay for the rest of your life. You live in America, it's a free country, you can do what you want with that. But if you've been looking at yourself and saying, how do I launch out of this spot that I'm in? How do I move forward? How do I reach the stuff that I've seen around me that other people have? This career can absolutely get you to that. So again, it's not for everybody. It's got to be something you're looking for. Some people love air conditioning and sitting down at a desk, and maybe that's what you're after. But if you think this fits you, we've got more information we'd love to give you. We're basically going to wrap up our portion now and then kind of move into some questions and then a little bit of a game. But we hope that you'll think about these things. So very first and foremost, and this is open discussion. Does anybody have any questions about the topic we've discussed so far? Yes, sir.
What kind of projects do y'all do? Is it more like industrial or residential? You guys kind of
Man, we literally do everything.
Except for residential.
Yeah. So maybe I should take literally out in front of that. We do residential when we're doing it for somebody who's, like an important person on a job or something like that. But we don't do residential for money. We do that for public relations. But so everything you see on that screen there is our market. It would be best characterized as industrial and commercial, but that really is a little bit too narrow. Like we've worked at Jaguar Stadium. Gabby and I have worked in hospitals primarily. I've been in hospitals about the past 10 years.
We've done work at Universal. Our company's done Universal.
Yep, we just did the electrical on the new park down there.
Yeah. A lot of other big names. I think they have maybe people at one coffee company.
Maxwell House?
Yes, Maxwell House. A lot of breweries.
Maxwell House, Anheuser, paper companies. I mean, if you ever had time during the work week to ride through downtown Jacksonville, you'd be amazed at how many buildings have a Miller Electric truck parked in front of it. And it's because we're doing that work at that bank or that insurance company. As you go up into the West Virginia area, Tennessee area, you're going to see Miller Electric trucks at data centers where all of the stuff that you're doing on your phone is processed, Data centers are set to spread pretty much throughout the whole country. They've been kind of localized, but with AI and the computing power that's going to require, we're going to see an increase in data centers and an increase in generating stations. And so that, just to answer your question, it's hard to say all the places we're going to work in the future because it's just going to keep spreading.
Yeah, I think we do Meta, Facebook, too.
Yep.
Do a lot of big names.
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. I mean, you want to know what you're getting into? I can tell you I've worked in just about every segment of our work. I started in the service department working at Johnson & Johnson where they make contact lenses. I ended up working at Anheuser for a bit. I've worked in the transportation world where I did roadway lighting and traffic signals. And you know, here I am back in hospitals, and there's probably a lot of stuff in between I'm forgetting to mention. But the cool thing about that is that you can specialize too. There's some people that don't want to do everything. They want to find, they're like, I love this little cross section, this little piece. We didn't talk much about the two different apprenticeships, but there's actually an electrical apprenticeship and a datacom or a VDV apprenticeship. They pay the same. It's just two kind of similar parallel paths. One's going to be more heavily towards data and communications. One's going to be more towards the electrical side. But all that happens under the Miller Electric roof. Great question.
Data would be more like your fire alarm systems and IT. And I think they even have, like, their journeyman's wage might be a little bit less than the inside wiring apprenticeship.
Yeah, I think they may have just bumped it according to, it's on that paper there. I do want to make sure that we get one of these white pieces of paper in everybody's hand before you leave. And then the pamphlet, if you're like, I actually am interested, that pamphlet over there is for you as well. And make sure you take one of those. Yes, please.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but where would the schooling take place?
So on University up there in Jacksonville is a little street called Richard Street right off of 95. That's where the school is located. That's where you would go 2 nights a week. Most of the work, if you're working in Jacksonville out of our zone, you would be either in Duval or St. Johns County. So, but the school is located on Richard Street in Jacksonville. And I think that blue book has the address on it if you want to Google exactly where it's at.
And do you get the junior grades?
For school?
Yeah.
No, they are pretty much based on what year of the program you're in. Yeah, so they stagger classes a little bit so the school, you know, has capacity for everybody.
And so, because I'm in my 4th year of electric, that means I still take all or would I go into the second?
There are opportunities to test through the first year, but again, you're going to have to know the material well. So I don't have enough experience with it to know what the success rate is if some people do that and it works for them, but I have heard of it happening. I've heard of people being able to do it, but the school can answer those questions, but you know, whether you can test through or not. Good questions.
You can test into like 1st or 2nd year if you're already in the program at the school, but you'll want to talk to them.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right. Now we're going to play a little game. Gabby, you ready?
Yes.
All right. If you're scared of getting stuff thrown at you, don't raise your hand. Oh my God. Okay. Let's get this rolling. All right, so now we're going to test your knowledge. So the way this works, I'm going to ask a question. If you are interested in answering it, raise your hand. If Gabby sees you and wants it to be you who's going to answer, she's going to throw that green cube at you. If you catch it successfully, you can answer the question. All right? So when you're done answering that question, you're going to give the cube back to Gabby, and we'll go to the next one. All right. So, man, if you get this wrong, you're in big trouble. Name 3 types of work that Miller Electric does.
Well, they do.
Hang on. She got to hit you with a cube. I'll take the papers. All right, you got the talking cube. What's the answer?
Alright, so I mean, I told you that before, but they come to like big commercial, so like the Jaguar Stadium, like I said, like hospitals.
I mean, mean, none of that's on the board right now, but you're getting the right answer. So.
And like banking and stuff like that.
Yeah, good answer, man. Good. Well done, well done. Give this man a prize. All right, next question. What does a first year apprentice earn per year based on 40 hours, etc.?
Per year, was it 40,000?
Yep.
Yes.
Get that man a prize. Gabby, I'm not sure if you're throwing that hard enough. I know you're being nice. All right, question 3. Historically, what color are most Miller logos? Nailed it. Yeah, it is actually on the board right now. There's a little Miller logo that's green.
Actually, it's green and
I didn't say anything about a truck, said logo, but I also have never seen a red Miller truck. All right. You might be talking about like Miller welding equipment. Maybe that's where your head's at.
Miller, and I think of that.
You might need to be checked for color blindness too. That's another possibility. All right. What are some of the requirements to enter the apprenticeship program? By some, I mean give me at least 2 requirements. Boom.
Oh, you have to be 18 and you have to have college, not college, high school.
No, you repeated it exactly like I said it when I messed up earlier. Well done. Well done.
Oh my God!
Told you it's life-changing, right? All right, number 5. What is the minimum starting hourly wage for an apprentice? Boom. All right, number 6. How old is Miller Electric? Round up to the year we're in.
Raise your hand if you want something.
Yes.
You gotta raise that hand.
I can barely hear it, but it was right.
Raise your hand. Why don't you raise it all the way?
Yeah, you got to be loud enough to be heard up here. Number 7. Name one of Miller's core values.
I'm right here.
Oh boy. Yes. Trust, that's our first, our most important core value. Well done. We may come back to that one. We may hit other core values. We'll see. Question 8. What year was Miller founded or opened?
You get a redemption.
Boom.
1928.
Was it?
Yep. Got it.
Oh my God, you know your stuff.
This one's a thought question. You have to be able to not just say something back to me, but put it in your own words. What does earn as you learn mean?
Okay. Here we go.
Chance for redemption.
Yeah, right? So you get to go to school and get paid.
No.
What about that?
Question 10. What does a journeyman electrician earn per year based on a 40-hour week?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so you almost messed up. It's a good thing you fixed it there. In 78,000, that's the Jacksonville wage. All right, this one's sneaky. I didn't spend a lot of time paying attention to this one. What is the deadline to apply for the apprenticeship? Get out of the way before I get hit. Boom. Even though you didn't say 2026, I'm going to let it slide. All right, how long is the current electrical apprenticeship?
Right here.
I'm gonna go for her.
Woo! There it is.
I want more prizes.
All right, so another thought question here. You got to put this in your own words. What does it mean for a career path to be AI resistant?
Oh, that was
It's
a bad
like
one.
AI can't steal it. Like you won't lose your job to AI.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Give that man a prize. He was paying attention.
What is wrong with you, bro? Thank you.
All right, somebody already gave this answer, but they weren't asked to, but we're going to ask it again. What is the minimum hourly wage for a journeyman in Jacksonville? Oh,
It's an hourly wage.
yeah, if only one hand goes up.
Oh, I'm gonna get your friend.
Is it like 37,
37.40.
I don't. Oh.
Number 16. What career path options could the electrical apprenticeship open up for you? So another thought question.
Electrician.
Why one page where it said
Thank you. Good answer, man. You had more, didn't you?
not anymore.
I made it. Yeah, good answer.
You get
Good
a
answer.
second half,
Yeah.
we get it.
Engineering.
Let me get the second half, bro.
You still got plenty of prizes in there?
Yeah, I can also.
I'm going to hit just a few more of the core values. Name another one of Miller Electric's core values that was not yet mentioned by
Oh my God, right
another
here.
student. Stewardship. So just to hit on, I think we all know what trust means. Stewardship means that you've been entrusted with something and you're going to use it wisely. All right, give us one more core value. One more core value. Anybody? They're literally on the screen most of the time. All right, I'll make it harder and easier. Give me one of the core values and what it means.
Oh no, I forgot.
Hang on, just hold your answer, man. I'm helping you out. Because now you got to tell me what it means. Core value and what it means.
Safety.
All right, what does safety mean?
Stay safe on the job site.
Yeah, bring your people home in good shape after the end of the day, right? All right, hey, I just want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate your attention. I don't want anybody to leave without at least getting one of these flyers. Even if you don't love the idea, you might have somebody in your family that would. And if you're interested in more information, then please come up here and chat with me or Gabby. We'll fill you in, let you know what the reality of this is. All right? Thanks, y'all.